Good afternoon and welcome. You're watching News Central now on News Central Television. My name is Mazino Appeal. The top stories this hour. President Tinubu meets FBI boss, seeks stronger collaborations. Death toll from cholera outbreak hits 30 with over 1,000 hospitalized in Nigeria. South Africa's President Ramaphosa re-elected after coalition deal. Now details shortly. Now we begin in Nigeria, where President Bola Tinubu has called for stronger collaborations between Nigeria's law enforcement agencies and the United States Federal Bureau of Investigations in the fight against cybercrime, terrorism, and other related crimes. According to a statement issued by his special advisor on media and publicity, Ajuri Ngalale, President Tinubu urged this on Friday during a meeting at the State House in Abuja with FBI Director Christopher Wray. President Tinubu characterized the visit of the FBI director and his team to Nigeria as a sign of the long-standing partnership between Nigeria and the United States in combating financial crimes and terrorism. He stated that his administration is diligently striving to eradicate terrorism, cybercrimes, and sextortion. Now, let's also inform you that Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has approved the reconstitution of governing councils and boards of federal universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. This was contained in a statement on Friday by the Permanent Secretary, General Services Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Nnamdi Mberi. He noted that approval was given for the effective management of Nigerian tertiary institutions across the country. And we head to court now. The Federal Inland Revenue Service has dropped tax charges against Tigran Gambarian, Binance head of financial crimes compliance. The charges were dropped on June 14th, according to FIRS spokesperson Dari Adekambi, who confirmed the charges against Gambarian and other individuals were being dropped. Binance stated this latest move demonstrates Gambarian is not a decision maker at the firm. Gambarian and Nadeem Anjarwalla, Binance regional manager for Africa, were detained on February 28th for tax evasion and money laundering. While Anjarwalla escaped custody, both executives and Binance faced charges. The lawsuit filed accused Binance of tax evasion. U.S. lawmakers criticized Nigeria for detaining Gambarian, but the federal government insisted on due process. Staying with court matters, the Federal High Court has fined Kano government the sum of 10 million naira for violating the rights of deposed Emir Aminu Bayero. The development comes following Justice Liman Mohammed of the Federal High Court, Kano State, declaring that Bayero has jurisdiction to be heard. Justice Mohammed had on Thursday given the judgment in a case filed by the kingmaker Aminu Babadan Agundi. Agundi had filed a case on the fundamental human rights of Bayero in the ongoing Emirates tussle. The Kano State High Court had also ordered substituted service on Bayero and 4 other emirs in a case filed by the Kano State government to restrain them from parading themselves as emirs. Earlier, Abdul Latif Abubakar Jos, editor-in-chief of Solace-based online newspaper, spoke with us from Kano, Nigeria, on this development. Staying with the courts still, where we understand that an appeal court sitting in Port Harcourt has directed all parties involved in the appeal filed by members of the Rivers State House of Assembly loyal to FCT Minister Nyesom Wike to maintain status quo, pending the hearing of the substantive suit. The 27 pro-Wike lawmakers, led by Martin Zamawale, had defected from the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, to the All Progressive Congress, APC. They had gone to the court to stop moves to declare their seats vacant. The 3-man panel of the appeal court, which sat virtually on Friday, adjourned the hearing of the substantive matter to June 20, 2024. Now, in the meantime, the chairman of Ikwere and Umuohua, local government areas of Rivers State located in Nigeria's south-south region, have accused the governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, of high-handedness in managing the affairs of the state and stifling development, especially at the local government areas. The chairman, Samuel Nwankosike, and Lloyd Chidi said that the state government has withheld funds meant for the councils for over 3 months, making it impossible to pay workers their salaries or execute projects that will impact the lives of citizens in the communities. They also criticized the state government forestalling operations in the local government secretariat, saying his action should be condemned.
Peaceful man. The governor of Rivers State has brazenly stolen our money for 4 months. That is what we are saying. For 4 months, none of us can function. Insecurity is on the rise, is on the increase, because we know we can no longer hold security meetings with our heads of security. Nothing is happening. He goes directly to pay workers, stealing from us with impunity. So today in our state, local government council funds have been withheld for over 3 months. The governor of Rivers State, Wray, who has told the entire world that is a peaceful man, that is a loving man, doesn't care the level of insecurity that are broken out in our local government areas, the debts that have laid our streets because our workers have not been paid, political appointees are not being paid, everybody is people are dying of their illnesses because they can't pay their bills anymore. And the governor is comfortable telling people he's running 1 year in office when the third tier government has been stifled of funds. The governor has dipped his hand inside the coffers of the local government.
Now to discuss this, we are joined by public affairs analyst Sonny Kelechi Nwajie. He joins us from Rivers State. Sonny, you're welcome. Good afternoon to you. I had asked if the LGA chairman alleged that the governor is withholding funds for over 3 months, can you please analyze the potential financial implications for the 2 local governments areas, considering both payrolls and also development projects?
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, you also forget to add, apart from being a public analyst on critical issues like this, I'm also a member of the Simplified Movement in Rivers State too. So, the person of Honorable Samuel Anosike, which is the local government chairman, and Honorable Chidi Lloyd, coming on air to say that the Rivers State government held their fund. That is not true. It is not true. 3 months ago, the Rivers State government got a classified information that the local government chairmen that are loyal to the Minister of FCT want to seize the fund meant for workers, the local government fund, when they disperse it to them. So the governor in his wisdom said, okay, because these persons have just few months to go and they want to withhold this fund, probably run away with it. So in his wisdom, because Sim Fubara is a man of wisdom, what did he do? He said, okay, through the treasurer of each local government, you people should come and bring the names of all the workers and the salaries that are accrued to them for each of those funds. And he paid them. He paid them. And the likes of Chidi Lloyd and Samuel Anosike also went behind closed doors. Don't forget the past administration of Wilson Wike placed a ban on employment, but they went behind closed doors. These local government chairmen that are not loyal to Sim Fubara went and put some names, employed people through the back door and fixed their name and was paying them. They have paid them for some months before this issue started. So the governor also took cognizance of all these things and saw that no, we cannot leave our fund in the hands of these men. We from Rivers State, we know who is who. We know the character of Samuel Anosike. We know the character of Chidi Lloyd. Even you that is talking to us now, addressing in the studio. You know Chidi Lloyd, have you forgotten how he broke somebody's head in the assembly during the time of Chidika Amechi to prove that he was loyal to Chidika Amechi, broke the head of Mr. Shinda? The records are there. Or is it Samuel Anosike who was fighting when he was the student union president, was fighting with the PC in the school there? We know their character. These are people who don't conduct themselves well.
Well, Sonny, you mentioned, Sonny, you mentioned that the governor got you mentioned that the governor got information that these local government chairmen were about to withhold these funds. Where did the governor get that information from?
That is, you are a media personnel. When we say an information is classified, it's not what I will come to the air and start saying. There was a classified information. The 23 local government chairmen, the ones that are loyal to the Minister for Finance, they wanted to run with it.
I'm sorry, I'm still very curious. I'm still very curious regarding the source for that information. It's not classified. It would really help put the story in balance if we know where exactly the governor got this information from and how credible that information was, so that we can put it into context of why this is going on, why there is a feud between the local government chairmen and the governor.
Do you know why we will not state that on air? Because we are getting more information from that same place, from that same source. So we will not give out that information where that information is coming until the end of this battle, because there are more battles to be fought to put these persons in place. Don't forget, these persons we are talking about just have 3 days. On the 18th of this month, they are leaving office. In fact, they are no longer local government chairmen. What they should be doing now is to prepare their files and submit to the HLG or the HPM of the local government, so that they can go their ways and start their normal life. Their tenure has expired. In 3 days' time, it will expire. They should start.
Okay, let's talk about the governor.
And also prepare.
Let's talk about the governor. The governor currently has his hands full. River State has been in the news since the start of the year with disputes between either factions that have left the party or those who, different instances. Now, the situation here is pointing to a possible conflict between him now and the local government chairman. That's another battle we're about to see for the next 1 week. Can you please discuss the typical power dynamic between these levels of government in River State? How do they, or in the past, how had they related? And what are the implications now that they're going, in quotes, to war?
Okay, over time, the local government and the state government, the River State, are always peaceful. They have this cordial relationship, not until the past administration handed over to SIM. And, SIM started bringing up some revelation that did not go well with the Minister of FCT. So his boys in the House of Assembly, which are the former members, please, in quote, they are no longer members of the Assembly. Former members, those boys now started shooting arrows, tempering the laws of River State, extending the tenures of local governments. It's just like telling us that as our president is now, Tinubu, upon the expiration of his tenure, you tell us that we should give him more 6 months or 1 year. He's not gone anywhere. So they started stepping on the toe. Don't forget, during the administration of Yusufike, he told us that our internal generated revenue every month is 9 billion naira every month. But Singh came up with the revelation that he is seeing 27 billion naira every month. And we were perturbed. Some persons were greatly astonished. What is really happening? 27 billion in this state as internal generated revenue. Okay, past administration said it's 9 billion. So all these things provoked the minister for FCT and his bandwagon, his boys in the assembly said that no, we will not agree. He was directing them what to do. You saw they nearly impeached the governor. If not for the likes of Edison, who refused to sign, and the Rivers people came out and said it did not happen. So they started disrespecting it. Are you not there on the national TV when Samuel Nosike, the Ikwerre State local government chairman, said Sims a stupid man? On a national, it has never happened before any part of the state. That young man that was granting interview yesterday in the court there was insulting the governor, telling him he is foolish. The likes of Shibi Boy, the governor will tell him that I want you to pay workers that you serve. He will look at the governor to the face and tell the governor he will not do it. If you are the governor, or if anybody, even nobody can hear that. When Wike was the governor, in fact, by now the likes of Shibi Boy and Samuel Nosike would have run out of the state. That was his own political pattern. But because Sim is a peaceful man, they tend to abuse it. They tend to step on his toes. He has not used even 10% of his power. If Sim decides to release his power I don't think the likes of the law or Samuel and Osike will be coming to the state, but they are moving freely. Every day they will say one, yes.
Now, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja ordered all the parties to maintain status quo in Rivers State. Now, with this ruling, how does that affect the state of inactivity in Rivers State, with everybody just simply staying put and waiting for the ruling of the court?
Okay. I first and foremost, I want to thank Appeal Court in their wisdom. You see, what they are trying to tell you is that Ojombu, the Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, everybody should maintain status quo. What it means is that Ojombu, the Speaker, after these 26 orders have defected to APC and their seats declared vacant, Ojombu is the authentic and remains the authentic Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, pending when the Appeal Court will now sit again on 20 years if they will pass judgment or what, pending their final determination to the matter, then we can know the way forward. But for now, the court is saying that everybody should maintain status quo. That is to say, they cannot reverse the High Court judgment that says that their seats are vacant, that they are no longer members of the Assembly. That one is like that. They say till the determination of the matter. So they will hear that matter on the 20th of June. Then Ojombu, as I speak to you now, is the authentic Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, and all status quo remains same. Every law made by Martins Amerume, which is school halls, they are null and void until the determination of that matter. And on the 18th, the local government chairman are going. So there is no need of this extension, and the governor may decide they may set up they will carry out election, or maybe 3 months set up caretaker committee members to go sway within the 23 local government before they conduct election, for new people to come on board and do the needful. Even the 2 people who are talking, Samuel Osike and Chidi Loy, what did they do in their local government? We know how much that goes to them every month as their allocation. We know. It is there, the records are there, they can
Well, all right then, Sonny.
And that is why most of these...
Yes, Sonny, would like to say thank you. We've taken plenty of your time, but you have also expressed adequately your feeling about the matter. Thank you very much, Sonny Kelechi.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And now to security matters. Troops of Operation World Punch have killed 6 bandits terrorizing the Gwari general area in Gwari local government area of Kaduna State. Commissioner of Internal Security Samuel Arua in a statement said all the villages in Gwari general areas, including Maidaro, Ngadiala and Dogon, had been successfully cleared by the military. Arua added that 2 of the bandits were neutralized at Farin Rua and 4 of them were slain in Salawa. According to the commissioner, materials including 1 GPMG, 2 AK-47 rifles, 6 AK-47 magazines, and 51 rounds of 7.62 special ammunition and 1 motorcycle were recovered during the military's clearance operation. And in more news, the Nigerian police has raised an alarm over alleged irregularities and corruption regarding the recently released names of successful candidates by the Police Service Commission in the 2022-23 Police Constable recruitment exercise. According to a statement signed by Olumuyiwa Adejobi, the Force Public Relations Officer, the list posted on the Police Service Commission webpage contains several names of selected applicants who did not participate in the recruitment process because they did not even apply. The statement claims that several names of candidates who failed the physical screening exercise, the computer-based test, or both are on the public list. The statement goes on to say that the most concerning claims are those of money transactions and dishonest behavior that resulted in outcomes where unqualified individuals have been shortlisted. The Armed Forces of Nigeria on Friday announced the deployment of 197 personnel for the peacekeeping mission in the Gambia. The Chief of Operations, Nigerian Army Major General Boniface Sinjen, disclosed the deployment in Jaji, Kaduna State at the graduation of troops of Nigerian Company 9 Economic Community of West African States Mission in the Gambia. 107 troops began pre-deployment training, that's PDT, on May 4 at Martin Luther Agwai International Leadership and Peacemaking Center, Jaji, Kaduna State. According to him, the PDT is in line with the commitment of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja, and the Armed Forces of Nigeria in deploying quality peacekeepers in support of international peace and security. Now, in a town hall meeting held in Borno State, a diverse group of stakeholders has come together to reflect on the outcomes and learnings of previous general elections and advocate sustainable peace and strengthen democracy. They highlighted the need for early preparation and increased sensitization and awareness creation on voter education and the Electoral Act 2022. News Central Sumaru Kirawa completes the report.
It has been over a year since the general elections in most Nigerian states took place. This multi-stakeholder engagement seeks to reflect and share indigenous approaches deployed during the last election, highlighting key successes and lessons learned for improvement.
We are supposed to start now to start educating people, advocating and sensitizing people about the need, because many of us, many of Nigeria are losing faith in the electoral process.
We need fund, one. Two, we need logistics. Logistics like how? If you recall, National Orientation Agency is from former MAMSA. If you remember those days when MAMSA is there, each and every local government has vehicle that will go nooks and crannies of the local government to sensitize people. Now, even at the state headquarters, we have only 2 vehicles.
Some of the stakeholders stress the need for sustained engagement with grassroots communities to build trust and confidence in the electoral system.
Maiduguri at that time was hosting over 2 million IDPs. Most of these people lost their voters' card, and we are very grateful to the federal government of Nigeria and the Borno State government and the National Electoral Commission for reintroducing the registration of eligible voters.
INEC is all inclusive now, and there are other priorities given to persons with disability. They were given a priority that they can have a quota to participate during election.
The creation of a technical working group called Peace Hub Committee, comprising representatives from all organizations and agencies to serve as focal point for all electoral matters, was also suggested.
This meeting that is supported by the European Union, the basic thing that this meeting is helping us achieve is to link the various structures, and that collaboration is to help us start this process now.
The stakeholders expressed commitment to working closely with the relevant authorities to ensure the recommendations from the town hall meeting are incorporated into the ongoing efforts to strengthen electoral processes and promote sustainable peace and democracy. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Now, still talking security. Following News Central's town hall meeting held in Plateau State aimed at restoring peace, Managing Director of News Central, Kayode Akintemi, has reiterated his commitment in ensuring that the seemingly eluding peace in Plateau State is restored. He was speaking when he paid a courtesy call on the General Officer commanding 3 Armored Division and Commander Operation Safe Haven, Major General Abdusalam Abubakar, as part of events for the town hall in Jos to enthrone peace on the plateau. News Central's Chizoba Anyanwe was on the entourage of Mr. Akintemi and now reports.
Lieutenant Colonel Ishaku Takwa welcomed Mr. Akintemi, Managing Director of News Central TV, and his team to the headquarters of the 3rd Armored Division, Maxwell Kobe Cantonment, Rukuba. Mr. Akintemi's visit marks his first time in Plateau State. For him, the need for both investigative and developmental journalism as vital tools to achieving peace in Nigeria is one of the reasons the media mogul is in the office of the GOC.
The reason why we're here is because personally I have chosen a path where I believe that there is a need for peace to reign in Nigeria and for development to be one that can almost be described as endemic, that there is development across board all around the nation. So for that reason, we have opted to make News Central a station that is focused on developmental journalism and investigative journalism.
Commending the army boss in the state for his unwavering efforts in enthroning peace on the plateau, Mr. Kintemi says his collaboration is sure.
From our perspective, we're keen to support you. We will do everything possible to collaborate with the Nigerian Army here in Plateau State and anywhere else that they operate. Our job is to make sure that we give you the right reportage, because when you don't give the right reportage about what the military is doing, you create a situation where there is no understanding of your work.
With such synergy among stakeholders in place, the GOC 3 Division and Commander of Operation Safe Haven is optimistic that peace will soon thrive on the plateau.
We are determined to make sure that we bring the crisis on the plateau to an end. And that will include us bringing all stakeholders on board. And that is where you also come in as the powerful fourth estate of Wray. You have a very important role to play. And that was why I insisted that this morning too, no matter how tight it is, we should be able to meet and cross-fertilize ideas.
Agreeing that no development can thrive in the absence of peace, they promise to work tirelessly to ensure peace reigns in Plateau State and Nigeria. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyonwe.
Now, concerns have been raised over the safety of the Nigerian airspace by investigative journalist David Hundeyin. On his X handle on Friday, Mr. Hundeyin said that Nigeria has had no primary radar coverage in its airspace since 2021. This, he said, means that when an aircraft in Nigeria's airspace turns off its transponder like any aircraft smuggling guns, drugs or conflict materials would do, Nigerian air traffic controllers have no way of identifying the aircraft. He cited a memo from the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority warning aircraft operators over the recent incident where an unauthorized aircraft strayed into restricted airspace above the presidential villa in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Earlier, journalist David Hundeyin spoke to us on this development.
It's there. It exists. The budgetary provisions for these things have been made. So it's not an issue of the Nigerian government not investing in those things. The money is there and it has been paid. So the money is there, the equipment has been bought to a large extent, and yet the coverage is not there. So you then have to ask the question to NAMA that in whose interest is it for not only the Nigerian, the primary radar coverage in Nigerian airspace to be down, which, by the way, is a large part of the reason why many transcontinental flights, especially coming from Southern Africa, instead of flying directly through Nigerian airspace, especially at night, they prefer to circumnavigate Nigeria. They prefer to go around Nigeria and pass through, Cameroon and Niger instead of passing through Nigerian airspace, which would be cheaper and more direct. The reason is that there is no primary radar coverage in Nigeria. So they're afraid that if there is an emergency or if they go down, they won't even be found. Which is, by the way, it has happened in Nigeria before where an aircraft went down and we didn't know where it was. This is a result of not having primary radar coverage. So you have to ask the MD, sorry, not the DG, the MD of the Nigerian Aerospace Management Agency, that why have these things not been put in place? And if the MD cannot give an answer to that question, then you then also have to ask the question that who is benefiting from a situation where aircraft can fly through Nigeria's airspace and we don't know who or what is on those aircraft. We can't do anything about it. We simply don't know.
To health matters now. The National Biosafety Management Agency has called on the public to exercise caution over the recent cholera outbreak in some states across Nigeria. The agency's head of information and communications, Gloria Agbaki, in a statement on Friday in Abuja, said there is need for everyone to be cautious. The statement added that the agency, in collaboration with health authorities, is actively monitoring the situation and implementing measures to contain the spread of the disease. Nigerians have also been urged to imbibe various hygiene practices such as boiling drinking water or using certified water purification methods. The month of June is dedicated to men's mental health awareness, and June 10 to 16 is International Men's Health Week. It is meant to not only raise awareness of men's mental health issues, but to also encourage men to seek help. News Central's Bettina Nweli reports. We'll take that report later on. Do stay with us. Now, the Nigeria Customs Service has intercepted large consignments of illicit drugs, including cannabis indica and prohibited cocaine from Canada and India. Comptroller General of Customs Adewale Adeniyi, while addressing newsmen in Lagos, said beyond revenue loss, some port operators and officers of the services are suspected to be involved in the illegal drug imports. The intercepted drugs include 3 plastic drums of cannabis indica, 46 bags of cannabis indica, 877 packs of codeine syrup, and 82 cartons of other drugs valued at 4 billion naira. The CGC said intelligence indicated that several terminals were involved and there is abuse of procedures involving customs officers. He also commended the custom area comptroller of Tin Can Port, Dara Nadi, for the seizures, which, according to him, is evidence of dedication and hard work.
Ongoing attempts by some criminal elements using a network of customs agents, Nigeria Customs Service officers, terminal operators to undermine our system. We have seen recently a growing number of containers that are either not examined in the port before they are released, or those that are stamped down into terminals. They left the port on Transia, but they neither got to those ports, to those terminals, and some of them found their ways into the premises of the importers for whatever nefarious activities or the other. This amounts to a situation where our processes and our procedures are deliberately compromised for some selfish interests.
Nigeria is an import-dependent nation, yet not a shipping nation despite its huge contribution to global trade. Playing marginally in the industry, it is on record that no fewer than 90% of shipping companies owned by Nigerians have either completely shut down their operations or are barely struggling to survive. With an estimated annual cargo throughput of 150 million metric tons generated, and with freight earnings in excess of billions of naira or dollars in her international trade transactions, 95% of this income is earned by foreigners, with job deprivation to a lot of these Nigerians. Now, find out more about how terminal operators' negligence is causing delays in cargo clearance, the impact of fluctuating dollar, customs duties, drop in cargo volume, and the influx of foreigners in the freight forwarding business is affecting indigenous participation. Watch Maritime Radar on Saturday, 7 p.m. and a repeat on Sunday at 1 p.m. on News Central TV. Now, coming up, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa re-elected after coalition deal. We'll bring you the details after the break. And now we head to South Africa, where President Cyril Ramaphosa has been re-elected after a lengthy first sitting of parliament which lasted over 12 hours. He faced off against EFF leader Julius Malema, who received 44 votes compared to Ramaphosa's 283 votes. Chief Justice Raymond Zondo commended the members of the National Assembly for their conduct after a prolonged nomination and voting process. Democratic Alliance leader John Steen Hussein congratulated Ramaphosa while pledging his party's support to the government of national unity. EFF leader Julius Malema said his party accepted the result but remained opposed to the government of national unity.
President
Ramaphosa!
Now, to discuss the latest developments in the South African arena, I'm joined on the news by Professor Farid Isaac, Professor Emeritus, Department of Religious Studies, University of Johannesburg. Professor Isaac, you are welcome. Good to have you here this afternoon.
Be with you.
Good. Now, Professor, how significant is Cyril Ramaphosa's re-election in the context of South African politics, given that the ANC's needs to form a coalition government for the first time in 3 decades?
Oh, it's really a very momentous moment in South Africa's democracy. It's been 30 years now where we've had a single ruling party. That's the Party of the Liberation Movement, the African National Congress. Now, of course, they lost their majority in the elections, coming in with only 40%. And what was remarkable was the statesman manner in which the African National Congress stuck to the constitutional principles and the humility with which it embraced its own defeat. So coalition politics of this kind, it is new in South Africa. Although in our first democratic elections in 1994, we also had a coalition of some sort that was brought on by the need to prevent chaos in the new South Africa, with the civil service and much of the judiciary and the other structures of state largely in the hands of white hands. And to ensure that it is not being sabotaged by the new South Africa, we were forced to go into that kind of coalition. This time, the coalition and the election of Cyril Ramaphosa is a symbol of something else, and that's of 2 things. The one is the resilience of constitutionalism and democracy in South Africa, despite the fact that it is only 30 years. And the second is the ability of the nation to overcome bitter political divisions and ideological differences in the face of prioritizing the stability of the country. And so this is a major victory for South Africa at this stage. How we are going to work in the future, this will become evident in the very first few months, because it's quite a precarious position for the ANC, for the alliance itself, who now have more than between 60 to 70% of the support in parliament. For the alliance itself, it is much stronger. But how inside the ANC, the intense anti-opposition feelings that there are, and the general differences in ideological orientations between the 2 tendencies, that remains to be seen.
Now, exactly how does the ANC expect to relate with these different coalitions, especially with the, if I'm not mistaken now, the diverse Democratic Alliance, because they've got a very, very different ideology, which many say borders on some very racial differences?
Well, in my reading, the Democratic Alliance has serious racist tendencies. It has serious racist tendencies. I don't think it has completely abandoned the kind of white superiority and white privilege that there has been in the past. It's not as bad as apartheid, because of course the institutions and the mechanisms that enforced apartheid, they don't exist in South Africa. So the race question is one question. The other one is the ideological orientation. The Democratic Alliance largely identifies with the United States and Europe. and regards the United States and Europe as the international community. It is a party that is unashamedly in support of an unfettered free market. So it's a completely capitalist party. And in these three respects, it differs remarkably from the African National Congress. And so these will be ideological obstacles. But until now, both parties have shown the maturity to navigate these ideological differences and to advance what they have in common on the South African national agenda, which is the fight against crime, it is the fight against corruption, it is the commitment to service delivery for people at a very basic level, from water supplies to electricity supplying, and to ensure that that the South African boat at this stage remain in solid waters. So there is a programmatic commonality with serious ideological differences. The early ability shows, the early propensities of both parties shows their ability to give and take and to navigate differences. And one hopes that in the interest of more immediate South African issues, that they will find enough common ground to sustain this government of national unity.
Well, Professor Farid Isaac, I want to say thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. We appreciate your presence. Welcome back. Now, new figures from the UK Home Office show a significant decline in foreign workers and students moving to the UK. The number has dropped by nearly 30% in the first 5 months of this year, from 121,000 to 85,200. This marks the largest decrease since the pandemic. The drop aligns with promises from both the Conservative and Labour parties to reduce net migration. Skilled workers, students, and health and care visa holders make up the majority of migrants to the UK. The decline is attributed to government measures including restrictions on dependents, increased salary thresholds for skilled workers, and limits on occupation visa schemes. According to the data, net migration stands at 685,000 for the year ending December 2023, down from a record high of 764,000 the previous year. Business now. Aliko Dangote, the president of the Dangote Group, announced that his refinery will be able to store 600 million litres more. He claims that this will allow the refinery to have 5.3 billion litres of storage capability. At present, the refined petroleum products can be stored in 4.78 billion litres at the Dangote Petrochemical Refinery. Dangote delivered a speech at the Afrbank annual meeting and Afro-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum held in Nassau, Bahamas. The millionaire claimed that because foreign oil giants did not want him to succeed, they would not sell crude oil to his refinery. Sports now. The International Table Tennis Federation, ITTF, has formally confirmed the eventual qualification of Nigeria's Quadri Haruna and Algeria's Linda Lograibi from Africa for the singles events of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games in France. The confirmation was made in a statement issued on Friday by the ITTF with representation from Africa, the Americas, Asia and Europe. With less than 50 days to the Games, this week's World Ranking Update has seen 8 athletes secure their participation based on the selection of continental quotas allocated by World Ranking. The men's singles draw welcomes African powerhouse Quadri Haruna from Nigeria alongside America's rising talent Nicolas Burgos from Chile. 86 men and 86 women are expected to compete in the singles event of the Olympic Games. Now, that's all the news for this hour, but before we go, let's remind you and take another look at what we brought you for our major stories. President Tinubu meets FBI boss, seeks stronger collaboration, and death toll from cholera outbreak hits 30 with over 1,000 hospitalized in Nigeria. South Africa's President Ramaphosa re-elected after coalition deal. And do remember, you can send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on your screen now. And do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422 Star Times, channel 274 Able TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.